Welcome back, my little snacks, to the worst of Reddit. That's right, it's time for your daily dose of yes, that person's a narcissist and not at all reflective on me as a personality, even though I kinda envy their spontaneity and confidence. We're going to begin today's video with a story that is technically an old one, recently shared around the interwebs, though it began 2 years ago on Am I the A-hole, of which it caused such a reaction that moderators had to literally ban people from brigading the post. So is there worthwhile insight to provide to it after all these years? Well, let's find out. It begins as Am I the A-hole for eating my neighbor's apple? Featuring an edit at the top that we're going to come back to later, don't you worry. So today, my fiancé, 32 male, and I, 27 female, were walking our dog through our neighborhood. We came across a beautiful apple tree in front of a home, and I mentioned that I might grab one to eat as a snack later. My fiancé absolutely freaked out and told me how rude I am for thinking to do such a thing, and how it's humiliating, especially as we are both overweight. That kinda hurt my feelings, but I quickly moved on. When we were walking back home, I decided, what the heck? And I grabbed an apple as we walked by. My fiancé was livid. He stormed ahead of me with our dog and cursed at me. Once again, told me how I'm humiliating and that it's incredibly rude to take someone's apple off their tree. Also, again reiterated how it's even more embarrassing since we are both overweight. He walked ahead of me with our dog for the rest of the way home. I told him I didn't understand what the big deal is, and quite honestly, I'm still having trouble understanding.
Yeah, okay. Alright, let's
Oh, jeez, you pig! I mean, look at that. You were essentially, what? 38.46 apples away from being an entire pig, you disgusting human being. Can't you see? Clearly, if you took one, you were going to take 37 more. Your fiancé is just trying to look out for you, obviously. But also, seriously? It only takes 38 apples to get to 2,000 calories? Damn, I was expecting 50 or 100. Now, for the sake of perspective, I'm going to try to describe the location of this tree and my train of thought. So bear with me. Imagine a house to the right, then us standing on the sidewalk, an absolutely overflowing apple tree to our left, and then the road to the left of the tree. The apple tree is actually partially hanging over the sidewalk and road. There were several rotting apples on the ground and sidewalk, and many very, very ripe looking apples on the actual tree itself. Please know that I did not step into the neighbor's yard or feel that I trespassed in any way other than grabbing an apple. I stood on the sidewalk and was able to easily grab a beautiful looking apple from the tree. Please also note that the house did appear empty to me, but my fiancé is adamant that it is not empty. It is not dilapidated or in poor condition by any means, other than all the rotting apples, but does look as if it may be a rental that is currently occupied, in my opinion. Just for the record, I did eat the apple and it was quite delicious. Crisp and tart and would be great in a salad or some sort of baked good. I honestly have no regrets about eating the apple, but I surely don't want to be that fat neighborhood a-hole who steals everyone's fruit. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for eating my neighbor's apple? Taking this story at face value, I can't understand how everyone thinks they're the a-hole here. I mean, if we're arguing personal property, okay, that's one thing. But, and I might just be straw-manning this situation here, but if someone stumbled along those rotten apples, fell over and hurt themselves, you know, in a situation where it was clearly these rotten apples piling up on the sidewalk causing someone to get injured, would they have a right to sue this person for leaving their property in a public space? Not that I think you can actually sue someone for rotten apples, but my point being, if we're going to allow them to have their garden of sorts over into a public space, you shouldn't be too surprised when someone's gonna yank a fruit or two from your produce. Could you agree, though, at least this might be a no a-holes here, where it's one thing to respect your neighbor's own things, another to maybe next time actually knock on their door and ask, hey, can I grab an apple? So the gallery's thoughts were, Yata, it's a minor offense, but you're still taking someone else's property without asking. Even if nobody lives there currently, someone owns the property. The apple tree and its fruit belong to them. Now, the OP did make a questionable reply here. I do wish I would have asked them first, but I think it would have taken away the spontaneity of it all from me. Thanks for responding. Okay, do you walk into stores and just grab stuff and leave because of spontaneity? I'm sorry I stole your car. I just, it was the spontaneity of the moment for me. So yes, more and more your tars overall. One even saying everyone sucks here. On the fiance's side, he needs to chill. There's no reason to be seething angry with you over this. And these comments about your weight need to stop. That has no bearing on the morality of eating stolen apples. 52 calories? You don't understand. That's at least 38 away from being fat. So then despite the constructive responses they give, what's with all these comments regarding this crazy edit? Well, edit so the mods and haters see this. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it now that I'm an a-hole. Apparently a pretty ungracious one at that, and I'm about to show you why. First off, it really ticks me off that I'm supposedly violating rule number 3 by saying that to one particular user, that it hurts to be told that I suck. Even though I agreed with the user and thanked them for their comments multiple times, I felt that I accepted my judgment but simply expressed that the truth hurt to hear. After this user kept commenting to me, I told them to calm the frick down and then proceeded to get a warning shortly after. Obviously, the comments I made are not allowed here, and I find that absolutely asinine and sissified. To all my supporters out there who believe in a little deviant spontaneity, I'll see you in hell. You'll recognize me since I'll be the one stuffed with stolen apples. To all my haters, you're all them lady parts that can take a pounding, and I hate you back. I'll introduce you to my fiancé and you guys can bond over your dislike of all things naughty. In fact, maybe y'all can start your own subreddit. Here's some ideas. And damn, what lovely foresight into the future love and happiness of this marriage. Stick in the mud club, overly sensitive. I'm a pussy and I hate myself. Thieves being hanged. Neighborhood police. No YOLO. Tree law experts. Am I weird that I like to be pegged? I'll think of you all every time I enjoy an apple now, especially the ones I obtain unethically. Oh, and before I get accused of being a hypocrite or throwing a tantrum or being dramatic...
Well, no one's saying that at all. No, you're fine.
Or whatever you morons are going to say, just know that you're probably 1000% correct, and that's just how I frickin' roll. Self-awareness at its finest. Yeah, this is one of those moments where self-awareness doesn't exonerate you from what you're doing or being like. If ever, if anything, it just gives you less of an excuse to get away with what you're doing. So strange they snapped like this because there were genuinely some people out here thinking that neither of you were a-holes, or she wasn't the a-hole at all. But either way, caused a bit of a brigading, had to result in some people getting banned. So with that spicy tea out of the way, let's move on to the next story. We'll now dash over to r/venting, where a particular man doesn't seem to realize that internet history is a thing. Seriously, it's 2022. How do people not realize that when you post things online, people can see it? I'm so tired of basically begging my wife for intimacy, only to be told no, or worse, yes, then no. Tonight was the final straw. I know this is going to draw some judgment and criticism, but I don't care right now. I need to get this off my chest. I asked my wife earlier today if we could have sex, and she said, sure. Not the most convincing statement, but when it's only once a month that it happens anyway, I take what I can get. Well, we get the kids to bed, and the time comes, and surprise, surprise, she's too tired to do it at 8:15 p.m. I'm so done. I'm done asking for intimacy. I'm done even thinking she wants me intimately. I can't take the rejection anymore, and tonight was the final straw. I feel so broken and hurt, and I don't know what to even do right now. So I came here to vent to Reddit hoping someone sees my side. And before anyone comes at me with, well, you should help around the house, more arguments, I take the kids to school and daycare. I wake up at 5:30 to make sure they're ready to go, and I pick them up, cook dinner, do baths, and for the most part, put both of them to bed. Yeah, I help out plenty. Now, as a general disclaimer, I want to say that this man, his feelings are valid. Intimacy is clearly very important to this man to feeling happy and satisfied and loved in a relationship. He's currently not getting that. He's allowed to feel upset about that or to desire it from his partner. But my fellow gentlemen of the universe, there's one thing we'd like to highlight here. Specifically this justification of why he deserves sex because, oh well, he helps out around the house. He does his part. He's not just sitting on his butt after work and expecting some head at the end of the day. That's where this valid rebuttal comes in. Any partner who says, I help out plenty, doesn't. Parents don't see it as helping, they see it as doing. Using the word help indicates the other person does the majority and you assist. As this woman talks about in her own personal relationship, this is such a true thing. Gentlemen, we have a tendency to just find the solution as quick as possible, find the resolution. Okay, we have an issue with bills and managing stuff and chores around the house. Oh, our partners opt to do this or such for us, take in charge of the dishwashing, do the laundry. Okay, well, I'll just do the vacuuming. Great, sweet. We habitually take a more reactive approach to household or personal responsibilities. Sure, it's great you're doing your part, but you're doing your part reactively. Do you ever notice you might accidentally only be doing things when your partner asks you to do those things for her? Sure, it's great you're helping, that's great, you're doing your part in the household as a fellow adult. But what makes you an exceptional partner is when they don't need to ask you. And yes, that can be a hard thing to do when you're not as observational as they are. But if you can learn to ride a bike, if you can learn to juggle, if you can learn to do anything as an adult, you can learn to be more observational. But see, that's not the worst thing about this man here. No, you'll notice at the top of the story that their account's deleted. Wonder what caused that. Well, the comments down below really expose him. For more context, turns out they've been 13 years together, 10 years married. Thanks to this detective with the lovely name here, turns out he's had his post history open to everyone to see. What was that post history? Oh, he was posting nudes and looking for women to cheat on his wife with because he's always horny and can't get any from his wife. He was also posting things like, 32 male looking for hot women to get me off because my wife promised me intimacy and then changed her mind. Now, at the moment, this is just hearsay, but I mean, if so many people are talking about it, dang, I am so sad I missed out. Ultimately, despite some actual constructive opinions here and thoughts on how to better be a happy relationship, I think it's fair to say that this man is long gone. We now move over to relationship advice where a story that could have had some genuine constructive help kind of just derails. My daughter says we abused her. I'm a 45-year-old male. I have 2 children with my wife Sherry, who's 39. My daughter Ava is 19 and my son is 16. I will admit that I've never taken a keen interest in my kids' personal lives or their own personal interests, but they never made an effort to relate to me either growing up. Dude, you are literally their father. How the hell is a kid meant to be able to comprehend the life and interests of an adult when they are like 5?
Dad, I found a big stick at school today.
I don't care. You didn't ask me how my meeting went this morning.
Anyway, my daughter thinks my wife and I emotionally and physically abused her and has tried to confront us about this all the time. It always ends in a screaming match with me explaining she doesn't know what it's like to be abused and that she should have experienced my childhood. My daughter had a happy childhood. She got most of what she asked for. And although we weren't well off by any means, she had more than what I got as a kid. I only ever yelled or spanked my daughter as punishment, and never unprovoked. I also tend to lose my temper sometimes when she says we physically abused her, because that's just not true.
Why are you yelling at me?
Because I want to demand respect.
What idiot would make you think that would work?
Because that's how you commanded respect from me growing up.
It's too brute.
Ava has made comments that she won't be taking care of me or my wife once she finally moves out, and that in our old age, my son will take care of us, or it's the nursing home. Just to clarify, Ava also thinks we favor her brother because apparently Sherry always gave him more hugs and love. Which I think is partially true, but it's not like she didn't receive any hugs. Ava eats in her room alone and refuses to eat dinner with the 3 of us, and even bought a lock for her door. I didn't abuse my daughter. How can I show her she had it better than my childhood? It's that final sentence that I think really solidifies what they're actually looking for here. They don't want to think about what they did wrong in this relationship and how they brought up this child wrong by prioritizing one kid over another. Nope, this is all about proving her wrong so he gets to keep his ego and humility. As apparently people try to give advice, but he doesn't seem to be taking any of it. His response?
I want advice on how and what to do about my daughter, not BS about coddling her now she's an adult.
I love this logic.
You're 19, you're an adult now. No, don't drink alcohol, you're too young for that.
Okay, but are you going to respect me like a fellow adult now?
What? No, you're my kid, I don't have to do that.
Yeah, you sound like you want a peeing contest with your daughter to prove to her how good she had it. Be the adult in the situation. Get help if you aren't able to do it on your own. And oh god, if these aren't perfect responses to this question from the comments. So 1, not your child's job to relate to you. You're her father, which should be enough for you to always attempt to make an effort and make her feel loved. 2. Your trauma is not the same as hers. You should attempt to seek counseling or help for your trauma, and do the same for your daughter. She at least deserves that.
OP's response: 1. I didn't choose to have kids. Accidental pregnancies happen. 2. I did the best I could for my kids. Was I supposed to let them do everything they wanted like wild animals instead of disciplining them?
Oh, my man, if you can only fathom discipline as physical or verbal abuse, like physically hitting someone or verbally intimidating and threatening them, then you are not fit to be a parent or a mentor in general. It is a genuine shame, as this comment says, you didn't want kids and she had the unlucky title of firstborn, yet you then had another. There's ways to prevent that, you know. It's not your kid's fault you never should have been a parent. You did not, in fact, do your best. And there is a slight hint of understanding to his subtext here. Of course, more comments basically accusing him of being an abusive parent, and narcissistic at that. He does say, what good is it to bring up now? What can I change? Should I invent a time machine? So, you know, that could be hints of a man maybe regretting, to a subtle degree, his decisions in how he raised her. Maybe he has some sort of intellect in his brain that can fathom the fact that he's witnessing the consequences of his own actions as a terrible parent. But overall, it is a sad sight to see when a parent's reaction to their daughter opening up to them about how they feel about their current relationship is a game of,
No, I had it worse, so shut up!
We'll now move back over to Am I the A-hole, where someone wishes to punish their sister for not mothering for her. Well, technically him, actually. I'm a 38 male. I have 3 kids with my beautiful wife. My extended family does not get together too often because everyone is older and busy. All of my cousins have children, except for my sister, who is married but child-free. My wife and I decided to invite all the cousins and their kids over. Also, our aunt and uncles, so all the kids and grandparents can have a nice day and everyone can be together and all the kids can bond. It was an event meant for parents. My wife suggested not inviting my sister because she hates kids so much and never wants to be around or help out with them. I agreed. We have asked her more times than I can count to watch the kids overnight or for a weekend to give my wife and I a break, but she always declines. So we figured she would decline this too, and did not extend an invite. But when everyone was over, they kept asking where she was, and I told them the truth. One cousin tried to claim that my sister doesn't hate kids, and she comes over and helps her with her kids all the time, and has been a lifesaver with her newborn. She also claims my sister is her kid's favorite aunt. Not my experience with my sister. Getting her to babysit for our kids is like pulling teeth. She always has something better to do. Well, I told them at the end of the day, it's my and my wife's choice who we invite to our house. This soured the mood, and things got awkward, and most everyone left early. My sister found out and is upset she wasn't included, and so is my mum. Now everyone is being distanced towards my wife and I. My sister and her husband are hosting Thanksgiving, and I haven't gotten an invite yet, which is messed up! My event was for the parents and kids in the family Thanksgiving as a holiday for the entire family. You gotta love how halfway through the story, they literally get exposed to the fact that it's not because she doesn't want to take care of your kids, it's because she doesn't want to deal with you. As a top comment says, you're the a-hole. It doesn't sound like she hates kids. It sounds like the only time you ask her to do things with your kids is when you're asking her to babysit. Not just for a few hours, but overnight or for multiple days, and she doesn't want to. Though some would argue that you didn't know she liked kids. Let's say someone said, I hate amusement parks, and you organized a day at one. Then you find out the day your friend did go to parks, just not with you. Well, you'd be hurt. And they didn't want to go with you anyway, so why would you invite them? Well, to counterpoint that, you organizing a day at one with a bunch of people, especially your entire family, of course they should be entitled to come along. Because even if they didn't want to hang out with you, they'd want to hang out with your family. And as another comment says, it may be more of a case that they're upset that she chooses whether or not she'll give them free babysitting, that they'll just exclude her from an entire family gathering, assuming she hates kids and doesn't just not want any. They are fully aware that she could have just chosen to decline, but they didn't want to give her the chance to accept is the issue. They're punishing her for not babysitting for their entitled assessment. So essentially, yes, it seems to be a case where this brain-dead chimp of a father doesn't seem to understand that just because you had kids doesn't mean it's everyone else's responsibility to take care of them when you get a bit of a mental overload with the responsibility. There's a reason why babysitting is considered a profession, because it costs money. Learn to put it in your budget if you want someone to take care of your kids for you. But overall, that is the end of today's stories for now. Thank you as always for watching, coming to the end of this video. Thank you so much. Remember, by liking that video, I will send you one free plant made of rubber and cheese. Totally legitimate thing. If you don't believe me, you'll just have to find out by pressing the like button. Anyway, before you realize that's a scam, I'll see you later. Bye!